Hey there, future coding gurus. Ever wondered how your phone works? Or how video games are made? It's all thanks to the magic of programming. Programming is like teaching a computer how to think. We give it instructions and it follows them. Pretty cool, right? From your smartphone to self-driving cars, programming is behind almost everything techie. It's the secret sauce that makes things work. So put on your thinking caps and let's dive into the world of code. Imagine a big empty box. You can put things in it and take things out. That's kind of what a variable is in programming. A variable is like a container for information. We give it a name and put data inside it. Think of it like this. You have a dog named Sparky. In code, we could store Sparky's name in a variable called dogname. Dogname equals Sparky. See? Easy peasy. Now our code knows that dogname means Sparky. We can also store numbers, lists of things, and even true or false values in variables. They're super handy. Ever had to do the same chore over and over? Maybe it's washing dishes, folding laundry, or even taking out the trash. It can feel pretty monotonous, right? Yeah, not the most exciting, right? But computers love repetition. They thrive on it, in fact. Repetition is a fundamental concept in programming. That's where loops come in. Loops are a powerful tool in coding that allow us to automate repetitive tasks. Loops tell our code to repeat a set of instructions multiple times. This can save us a lot of time and effort. There are different types of loops, like for loops and while loops. Each type has its own specific use cases and advantages. Our for loop is like saying, "Hey computer, do this 10 times. It's great for when you know exactly how many times you need to repeat an action. For I in range 10, print "This is awesome." This simple line of code would print "This is awesome" 10 times. This would print "This is awesome" 10 times. It's a straightforward way to handle repetitive tasks. See? Computers can be pretty enthusiastic. They never get tired of doing the same thing over and over. While loops are a bit different. They are used when you want to repeat an action until a certain condition is met. They say, keep doing this until something else happens. This makes them very flexible for various scenarios. Imagine you're eating cookies from a jar. You keep eating until there are no more cookies left. A while loop would be like saying, keep eating cookies until the jar is empty. It's perfect for situations where the number of repetitions isn't known in advance. Loops are super useful for tasks like going through lists of data or repeating actions in a game. They make our code more efficient and our lives easier. Section 4. Functions, reusable blocks of brilliance. Let's say you're making a cake. You gather all your ingredients, follow the recipe, and mix everything together. You wouldn't want to rewrite the recipe every time, would you? Instead, you keep the recipe handy and follow it whenever you need to bake a cake. That's where functions come in handy. They save you from the hassle of rewriting code for tasks you perform frequently. In programming, a function is like a mini program within your main program. It encapsulates a specific task or a set of tasks. It's a block of code that does a specific task. This makes your code more modular and easier to manage. Think of it like this. You have a function called makeCake. This function contains all the steps needed to bake a cake. When you call this function, it follows the instructions to bake a delicious cake. You don't need to write the steps again, just call the function. Def makeCake. Media group. Someone calling a function in a code editor. A cake coming out of an oven at its socket at distribute_equally. Functions make our code more organized and reusable. They help in breaking down complex problems into smaller, manageable pieces. We can call the same function multiple times without writing the code again and again. This not only saves time, but also reduces the chances of errors. Section 5. Variables, loops, and functions. A powerful trio. So far we've learned about variables, our code's memory, loops for repeating tasks, and functions, reusable blocks of code. These three elements are fundamental building blocks in programming. They allow us to write efficient, readable, and maintainable code. Variables store data that our programs can use and manipulate. Loops help us perform repetitive tasks without writing the same code multiple times. Functions let us encapsulate code into reusable sections, making our programs modular and easier to understand. But here's the thing, they work even better together. When combined, they can solve complex problems more efficiently. Imagine you're building a robot. This robot needs to perform various tasks, and you want to control it using code. You could use variables to store the robot's name, its battery level, and its current task. These variables act as placeholders for the robot's state and attributes. Then, you could use loops to make the robot move its arms or perform repetitive actions. Loops are perfect for tasks that need to be repeated multiple times. For instance, you could program the robot to repeat a dance move. This would involve looping through a set of instructions that control the robot's movements. And guess what? You could put those looping instructions inside a function called dance. This function can then be called whenever you want the robot to perform the dance routine. See how it all comes together? By integrating variables, loops, and functions, we create a cohesive and powerful program. By combining variables, loops, and functions, we can create amazing and complex programs. This trio is essential for any programmer looking to build efficient and effective software solutions. Section 6. Beyond the basics, what's next in your coding journey? Congratulations, coding superstars! You've learned about variables, loops, and functions, the building blocks of programming. But the fun doesn't stop there. There's a whole universe of coding concepts to explore. You can learn about different programming languages like Python, JavaScript, or Java. Each language has its own strengths and is used for different purposes. You can also dive into more advanced topics like data structures, algorithms, and object-oriented programming. Section 7. Conclusion. Embrace the power of programming. Programming might seem a bit daunting at first, but trust me, it's like learning a new language. Well, technically it is. Once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly rewarding. Remember, coding is all about breaking down complex problems into smaller, more manageable steps. And with practice and a bit of creativity, you can create anything you can imagine. So go forth, code ninjas, and unleash your inner tech wizard. The future of technology is in your hands.